The Assembly will hear an address by His Excellency Kassim Majaliwa, Prime Minister of the United Republic of Tanzania. I request protocol to escort His Excellency and invite him to address the Assembly.
Your Excellency, Philemon Young, President of the 79th Session of the United Nations General Assembly, Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. President, on behalf of Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, I stand before this august assembly to deliver a message of hope and peace to the people of the world. In doing so, I wish to convey warm and fraternal greetings from the President and the people of the United Republic of Tanzania. Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, wishes this assembly every success in its important deliberation. I would also like to join the previous speakers in commending you, Mr. President, for the excellent manner you are steering the work of the Assembly. Tanzania endorses and supports the theme chosen of this session, that is, leaving no one behind, acting together for the advancement of peace, sustainable development, and human dignity for present and future generations. This theme aligns well with the United Nations Charter and builds on the effort of your predecessor, His Excellency Dennis Francis, whose remarkable leadership is truly appreciated. Tanzania recognizes and thanks the Secretary General for his great work and the important message he shared with us at the opening of this general debate. Mr. President, the participation in the 79th General Assembly has been a unique opportunity for us to share perspectives regarding to the pledge and commitment made for addressing global challenges such as pandemics, extreme poverty, climate change, and conflicts. I would like to share some of Tanzania's perspectives as follows. Sustainable development, Tanzania's path to inclusive growth. Mr. President, the Sustainable Development Goals are a beacon of hope in addressing global challenges. Tanzania's journey towards sustainable development reflects that of many nations facing significant challenges from the determined impact of COVID-19 on health and economic systems. Climate change, marked by extreme weather patterns like torrential rain and droughts, has deteriorated health issues and strained infrastructures. We are concerned about the slow pace in attaining these goals, whereas of 2023, only 17% of targets were on track, with over one-third regressing or stalling. Urgent action and global solidarity are needed to overcome barriers such as economic imbalances, climate change, conflict, and gender inequality. Mr. President, our commitment toward the realization of SDGs is focused on sustainability economic growth through strategic investment in agriculture, aquaculture, livestock, fisheries, infrastructure development, energy, and digital economy. Our goal is to improve food security, reduce poverty, ensure job creation, and drive inclusive economic growth. There are many success stories in Tanzania emanating from this investment, such as the empowerment of youth through the Building Better Tomorrow agriculture initiatives in mainland Tanzania, and empowerment of local women in Zanzibar through seaweed farming. On the other hand, Tanzania implements policies to ensure access to quality healthcare and education for all citizens, including the Universal Health Insurance Act and the free basic education. The government also invests in vocational training and STEM education to prepare youth for job market and digital economy. Defending human dignity, inclusivity, and equality. Mr. President, for decades, Tanzania foreign policy has prioritized respect for human dignity. Addressing this assembly on 4th December 1961, Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere, the then Prime Minister of Tanganyika, stated that the basis of our action, internal and external, will be an honest attempt to honor the dignity of man. Mr. President, Tanzania has maintained this pledge by leading the fight against colonialism and racism. In this regard, Tanzania hosted the OAU Liberation Committee, supporting freedom fighters in their struggles for independence. Despite gaining political liberation, many countries still face economic sanction and inhuman conditions which hinders the achievement of genuine development. Thus, we call for realization of right of self-determination of all people under colonial occupation and the fighting and the lifting of economic sanction imposed against them. This assembly must continue to more boldly call for the lifting of economic sanctions placed against the people of Cuba and other countries too. So, to allow the peoples of these countries realize their basic rights, including rights to development. Mr. President, global humanitarian crisis due to war, conflict, and natural disaster requires unrestricted access to humanitarian aid, fair treatment of victims, accountability to actual sites, and the United Nations commitment to uphold human dignity for a peace world. Tanzania believes that every individual deserves to live in dignity, freedom, and security to reach their full potential. The United Nations must not remain indifferent in these solutions, as doing so would only determine its legitimacy. Mr. President, let me talk about peace and security. Security is indivisible. In the face of global health insecurity characterized by the pandemic such as COVID-19 and current mpox, the saying no one is safe until everyone is safe truly gathers meaning. It is imperative that we should invest more in peace, foster unity, and rebuild trust. In this regard, Tanzania welcomes the adoption of General Assembly Resolution 78/312, which proclaimed July 7th as World Kiswahili Language Day. Kiswahili is a language spoken by over 200 million people in all continents of the world. It is an important tool for advancing peace, unity, and cultural diversity. While Tanzania and other Kiswahili-speaking countries looking forward to commemorate this day in 2025 and beyond, we also call on this assembly to explore the possibility of recognizing Kiswahili as an official language of our esteemed organization, or as this assembly. Tanzania, East African Community, South African Development Community, and the African Union have already led the way to Kiswahili speaking, and it is again important that we invest more in peace initiatives because there is no development without peace and unity. Your Excellency, Mr. President, in recognition of this requirement, Tanzania has several decades participated in peacekeeping, peace building, and mediation efforts. Tanzania has and continues to contribute towards world peace through its membership in the United Nations Security Council and the African Union Peace and Security Council. This contribution is also evident through its leadership in regional arrangements, such as International Conference on the Great Lakes region of Africa, and currently the chair of the organ on politics, defense, and security of Southern Africa Development Community. I wish to reassure this August Assembly that Tanzania's commitment towards peace will not weaken. Tanzania will continue to diligently dispense the obligations emanating from the culture of the United Nations. Mr. President, let me talk about climate and change. Tanzania, like many other developing countries, is highly vulnerable to droughts, floods, desertification, and effect to sea level rise. It is estimated that the sea level will rise by 41 centimeters by 2080. While the sea level rise cannot be reversed, Tanzania is taking several adoption and mitigation measures, including the restoration and the plantation of mangrove, enhancement of coastal infrastructure, and the promotion of ecotourism and aquaculture. It is imperative that, therefore, that we must invest more in climate finance to help recover economies already suffering from these effects, and to enhance access to funding for loss and damage in the hand-hit countries. Mr. President, about transformation to clean energy, as we prepare for COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan, it is worth remembering that globally, an estimated 2.4 billion people are still using polluting fuel for cooking. This contributes to health problems, food insecurity, gender inequality, and environmental damage, including millions of premature death, limited access to education and employment for women and children, and increased household gas emission and deforestation. Achieving universal clean cooking access in Africa by 2030 would require an estimated about $4 billion annually, a small fraction of global energy spending. Mr. President, in response to this alarming situation, Tanzania is championing a clean cooking agenda, which essentially contributed to several SDGs, including goals number 7, focusing on ensuring access to affordable and sustainable energy for all. Tanzania will host the African Energy Summit in January 2025, means next year, co-organized with the World Bank and the African Development Bank. The summit aims to accelerate the implementation of World Bank Group and the African Bank Group commitment to provide electricity access to 300 million people in Africa by 2030. We look forward to working together with all partners to unlock energy potential and build brighter, more resilient future for Africa. Mr. President, delivering on democracy. In November this year, Tanzania will hold the local government election, followed by the presidential and the parliamentary election in October next year. As we prepare for this electoral event, I wish to assure this Assembly that democracy, human rights, and the rule of law will be upheld in line with President Samia's vision as captured in the 4 R's philosophy, namely reconciliation, resilience, reform, and rebuilding. Since the announcement of 4R principles in 2021, the government of Tanzania has continued to foster harmony and promote unity across political, religious, and ethnic divides. In implementation of 4R, the government has also undertaken several monumental reforms that seek to address shortfall within the criminal justice system, allow the effective political process, and enhance the enjoyment of human rights. Mr. President, reforms are crucial for countries and international organizations to stay relevant, for greater inclusiveness, transparency, and accountability, especially in multilateral bodies like UN Security Council and the Bretton Woods institution. Tanzania remains committed to rebuilding its economy and society, focusing on inclusivity and empowering its citizens for a stronger future. Mr. President, when I go to conclude my speech, Tanzania argues all the world leaders to unite against international threats that undermine unity, peace, and human dignity.